Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. And today on the channel, I'm going to be talking about a brand new horror animation film called The Weird Kidz, now premiering on the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival. Before I get into my review on this new film, just to let you guys know that I'll be doing a lot of different films from this festival for the next couple of weeks. But let's not waste any time. Let's just get into talking about this new film. The Weird Kidz follows three 12-year-old friends, Doug, Mel, and Fat, who are navigating life and puberty in their small desert suburb. When Doug's older brother, Wyatt, takes the boys on a camping trip to a desert canyon with his girlfriend Mary, they find themselves in a dangerous situation with the Night Child, an ancient creature that is more than a local legend. The film stars Angela Bettis, Sean Bridgers, Eller Coltrane, Glenn Bolton, Tess Passero, Sidney Wharton, Brian Seeley, and was directed by Zach Passero. So going into this film, I absolutely knew nothing about this film. I liked that this was an actual horror animation film to start me off with this festival. I did learn that this was actually a hand-drawn animation, and it was used actually on a tablet, and the wife actually did the paintings and the backgrounds in the film. I think that the animation is done really well, from the drawing of the characters' faces and features to also the clothing that they wear. I think that the mixing and the sound is done really well, and I thought the voice acting was done pretty well as well. And I also think that the whole score that they have, it's pretty serviceable. I don't really think that it's a really intense score. I think it is intense when it needs to be. I enjoyed watching the brother relationship with Wyatt and Doug. In the beginning of the film, Wyatt is very mean to his brother. There is this one part where Doug actually has to go to the bathroom and he tells him to actually go and take a piss outside the van, and they actually pull up to a gas station and he's still going to the bathroom and everybody sees him while he's doing that. And then he also makes his brother go into the gas station and buy him condoms and beer, and his brother is only 12, so they have to actually steal the beer. And you could just really tell that his brother really is just using his brother and really is just really mean to his brother. But as the film actually progresses, I do like seeing that relationship actually change and him actually bonding with his little brother. I also really like Mary in this. She is that calm and cool, collective kind of girl, and she really doesn't get bothered by a lot of different things. She's trying to figure out if she's going to go to college. She really doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. She is the girlfriend of Wyatt in this, and she's really nice to the little boys. She knows that they're going through puberty. Obviously, they're really trying to discover things about girls. Like, obviously, Mary, she has bigger boobs, and the boys really are attracted by that. So they really are kind of really being noticeable with the fact that they're actually looking at her, and she knows that, but she's being really nice about it. And some girls, they really wouldn't be that cool with it. So it was very interesting to see how her character actually treats these boys. And I like that this film, it goes into a camping aspect. It feels like a horror kind of slasher kind of vibe as it's going into this camping aspect. And we get to hear about this actual local legend of this monster. And I really like how this film really develops with this monster. Now, I'm not going to say that I really love the whole design about the monster. I think that the monster isn't really that scary, but I think when at times the monster actually needs to dominate and actually show that his presence is actually there, I think the monster does a really good job of actually showing his presence throughout this film. Now, this isn't a full-fledged horror film all the time. There is some comedy in here, and I think the comedy is a lot more so in the first half. In the middle, there's a little bit too, but I think it really hits that horror type of stride in that last act, and a lot of the horrifying moments are actually in that last act. And I did like learning in between all these type of acts. We get to learn more about the creature, we get to learn more about the town, why this town is the way it is, and why this creature, why he is the way he is. And I did like towards the end, we get a little bit of violence. This film isn't that violent, but we get into that last act, I would say about the last 15-20 minutes of this film, we get a lot of different violence. People's arms getting ripped off, people's heads getting ripped off. It gets violent in that aspect, but I don't really think that it's one of those really big violent horror films. I don't think necessarily if you really don't like horror films that you can't watch this film. I think you can enjoy this film for what it is because it has lots of comedy. I think it also has a lot of different things like growing up and puberty, and it can be very relatable to people that are really just trying to actually get through puberty and actually try to get over certain things, certain certain fears. I didn't really have a lot of negatives for this film. I will say that one of the characters, Fat, he didn't really stick out to me as much of a character. I thought he was one of the weaker characters, and I also wanted a little bit horror in certain aspects. I think they do a really good job of setting up the story and really telling you actually what the story is really trying to do, and really a lot about the actual legend of this monster. I wanted a little bit more horror and a little bit more action. Obviously, we do get it within that last 20 minutes, but I did want a little bit more. I think the film is a very beautiful looking film. I think it has some pretty good comedy, and I think for the most part, it's a really good film, and I really did enjoy this film. I'm gonna give a score of this film a 4 out of 5. I really did like the mix of comedy and horror here. I just wish that we got a little bit more horror throughout this film, but for the most part, I think it's an excellent film, and if you guys get a chance to check it out whenever it does hit a streaming service, or if you can rent it at some point, I definitely think you guys should check it out. But thank you guys for checking out this review, and I'll see you guys on my next one.